y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy. Today we are talking about the Thriller-a-thon, the winter edition of Thriller-a-thon. I did the first one last year, except I think it was the summer edition of Thriller-a-thon. So I'm super excited for this second round for me. This year is going to be sort of the same sort of board, but they're going to be doing it as a clue bingo board. I'll put a picture of the bingo board up here as we go through the books. I don't really know the details of the whole clue bingo board, how that's going to work. You basically solve the mystery, whether it be like Dr. Peacock in the kitchen with the candlestick, or whatever. But I'm not sure how you do that. I'll have to go back and watch Harriet's original video to see exactly how the game goes again, because I just watched it that one time and just got super excited about it, picked my books, and never really thought about it anymore. I'm not sure if I'm going to play the clue bingo. I'm not sure how my reading's going to go that week. This is going to take place from February 15th through the 23rd. So again, I don't know if I'll get to all the books I have here, but I picked a book for every single challenge on the board. So let's just start at the top with Dr. Peacock, which is oldest thriller on your TBR. And for me, there was like 2 or 3. I picked The Obsession by Nora Roberts. I had to actually go through my book hauls on my channel to figure out what on my TBR was the oldest one there. So this one and another one came up, but I chose this one. I don't really remember anything about this book. I picked it up because at the time I loved Nora Roberts. I mean, I still do love Nora Roberts, but I was reading a lot of her books at the time I picked this up, and it sounded really good, mysterious. It was on sale. I think it was 2 for $10 at Barnes & Nobles at the time, something crazy like that. But on the back, it has a little blurb that says, "A woman must confront the harrowing past that has shaped her entire life and the obsession that threatens her future." Nora Roberts never usually lets me down. There's always some sort of mystery as well as romance in her books. So just reading a quick glance over the synopsis, it talks about a young woman, Naomi. It seems like that's who we're going to be following. She seems to have had a troubled past involving her father. It says she lost her innocence the night she followed her father into the woods. So she has gone on to make a life for herself. She is now a photographer. I think she has also met someone, so there's a love interest involved in there. But her secrets, her past, her dark past is always in her mind, just a nightmare away is what it said in the synopsis. So it sounds really good, of course. Hopefully I'll get to it in this readathon. Next up is Sergeant Mustard, thriller with the creepiest cover. I had probably a couple I could have chose from, but I went ahead and I went with Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Penborough. I've been having this as well on my TBR for a really long time. People have raved about it here on BookTube, so I'm excited to get to this one. So I don't know much about it. I've heard, things on BookTube, but we follow a young girl that I think she's starting a new job. But one night she goes out and she meets someone, and I think they have like a little fling or maybe a kiss at a bar. I don't know the details, but then she realizes when she goes into work that this is her new boss, and then his wife befriends her. So as she sees them on the outside, they look like the perfect couple, but of course she probably knows better. I mean, he seduced her one night, but the wife seems very scared of her husband. So her name is Adele, is our character we're going to be following, that she sort of like puts herself into their life to figure out what's going on in their marriage. We'll see. Next we have Professor Scarlet, shortest thriller on your TBR. That was hard because I don't have a lot of short thrillers on my TBR, but the shortest one that I could come up with as I scanned my shelves is The First Mistake by Sandy Jones. This is only, and I say only, it's like 281 pages. So, and that's the shortest thriller on my TBR. I scoured my shelf looking for that short thriller. It says, the wife, her husband, and her best friend. The first mistake could be her last. So it sounds like her new husband, this is her second husband, starts acting strange. She confides in her best friend to help her figure out what's going on with her husband. So, shortest thriller on my TBR. We'll see if we can get to it. Moving on to the second row of the bingo board, we have The Library. And this is a new to you author. I actually have quite of those on my TBR, but I decided to go with The Party by Robin Harding. I haven't heard much about this on booktube. I've never read anything by this author, and it's also one of the oldest thrillers on my TBR, so I figured I'd go ahead and pick it up. But this sounds sort of like a domestic type mystery thriller. It has to do with a couple whose daughter is turning 16, and they throw a 16th birthday party for her, or more like a sleepover for her and her friends, and something goes wrong. So it says on the back, Hannah's party quickly turns into the stuff of nightmares. After a tragic accident occurs, Jeff and Kim's comfortable life in a wealthy San Francisco suburb begins to fall apart. In the ugly aftermath, friends become enemies, dark secrets are revealed in the Sanders marriage, and the truth about their perfect daughter Hannah is revealed. Next we have The Kitchen, which is a trope that you love. I have several tropes that I love in a mystery thriller. I love a story within a story that's told through like letters or text messages. I don't know why, but I love that. I also love dual timelines. So for that, I went ahead and I chose that as my trope. And I'm gonna go with The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. Also a recent buy for me from Book Outlet. But it looks like we are following Vermont 1950 and then Vermont 2014. So there's a boarding school back in the 1950s where troubled teens are sent. And it seems like it's a place of just where some bad things might happen, and 4 teenagers go missing from what I'm reading here on the back. One of the teenagers, it says 4 roommates bond over their whispered fears, their budding friendship blossoming until one of them mysteriously disappears. And then we jump to Vermont 2014. 20 years ago, there's a journalist whose elder sister's body was found in the overgrown fields of the boarding school. So it just seems like she's gonna get down to the bottom, or wants to get down to the bottom of what happened to her older sister at this boarding school. So I'm super excited to get to this one. Next is The Study, and this is a recommended thriller. And for that, I'm going with Chasing the Dime by Michael Connelly. My husband actually read this years ago, he told me. So I had to pick it up and see what it's all about, because if he likes a book, it's gotta be good. He's not a reader. I don't know much about it. It just says on the back, the phone messages waiting for Henry Pierce clearly aren't for him. Where is Lily? This is her number. It's on the site. Pierce has just moved into a new apartment, and he's been chasing the dime and doing all it takes so his company comes out first with a scientific breakthrough worth millions. But he can't get the messages for Lily out of his head. As Pierce tries to help a woman he has never met, he steps into a world of escorts, websites, sex, and secret passions. A world where his success and expertise mean nothing, and where he becomes a chief suspect in a murder case, trapped in the fight for his life. Actually sounds pretty good. And moving on to the last row, it's Candlestick, newest thriller on your TBR. So for that, I'm going with The Drowning by J.P. Smith. I recently got this from Barnes & Nobles. Don't know much about it. I know it involves a child that has gone missing at a camp when he was younger. It says every 7 years, a boy disappears from Camp Wakilo. Who will be next? It doesn't take long for a little boy to disappear. Joey Proctor can't swim, but that doesn't stop camp counselor Alex Mason from leaving him out on a raft in the middle of the lake in a fit of rage. Alex only meant to scare the kid, teach him a lesson. He didn't mean to forget about him. But now Joey is gone and his body is never found. More than 20 years later, Alex is a success. The proof is there for anyone to see in the millions of dollars he makes. His lavish house, his beautiful wife and daughters, and no one knows what happened that summer at camp. At least no one should know, but it looks like Joey Proctor may be back to take revenge. So is this a ghost story? Did he not die? What happened to Joey? Next up is Dagger, and it says author you've read before. And for that, I'm going with The Passengers by John Mars. I loved the one so much. I cannot wait to get to this one. So this is a perfectly good excuse to get to this one. I'm gonna read you the synopsis because it's It's gonna get you. It says you're riding in your self-driving car when suddenly the doors lock, the route changes, and you have lost all control. Then a mysterious voice tells you you are going to die. Just as self-driving cars are becoming the trusted, safer norm, 8 people find themselves in this terrifying situation, including a faded TV star, a pregnant young woman, an abused wife fleeing her husband, an immigrant, a husband and wife, and a suicidal man. From cameras hidden in their cars, their panic is broadcast to millions of people around the world. But the public will show their true colors when they are asked, which of these people should we save? And who should we kill first? What? I can't wait. And lastly, we come to hardback, which is the group book. For the group book, they have chosen Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, which I've already read this. So I won't be rereading it, but I did want to show it to you in this video. I loved this book. This is definitely 5 stars. It's a sci-fi thriller. So we follow Jason, who is a scientist. In his current life, he is a science professor at a college. He has no regrets. He loves his life. He loves his wife. They have a son together. But one night he is kidnapped by someone and he finds himself in like a completely different world where the Jason that he thought he was and the life that he was living does not exist. He does not have a wife. He does not have a son. But he is a very thriving scientist in this world that he wakes up to. But he doesn't know this Jason. He only knows the Jason that he was. So he tries to get back to that life. But there's also the Jason that is in the life he's living. It's so confusing. But it's basically, if you think about it, you have a decision to make in your life, whether you take this path or this path, and you choose this path. Say this path over here still exists, and there's a Jason that exists in this path, and he wants to know what's happening to this Jason. So he builds like this box that he can almost like warp to this Jason's life and try to take it over and send this Jason over to his life. It's insane, it's wild, it's crazy. You should read it. I listened to the audio. I highly recommend the audio because it just brings this book to life. But I thought it was amazing. Although I won't be rereading it, I highly recommend that you pick this one up. Okay, y'all, that is it for the Thriller-a-thon, the winter edition of Thriller-a-thon, that is. Those are all the books that I picked for all the challenges. I don't know what I'm gonna get to in 10 days. This is a lot of books. For me, it's like 8 books to get to in 10 days, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. I will probably be listening to a lot of these books if I can, but we'll see how it goes. I'll try to vlog it as well. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So let me know if you'll be participating and what books in these categories will you be reading. Are you gonna read any of these? Just let me know down below. We'll talk about it. As always, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. I'll put all these books down below if you want to check them out for yourselves, whether you just want to read them or have them for the Thriller-a-thon. My social medias will be down there as well. And again, thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.